What up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, man. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. Um, Today, we got an update on the terrible shooting of a father and his children. Um, it's devastating to hear news like this and cover news like this, but we got to get this out to the public for awareness and education and information. Let's get into it.
We did have a chance to talk to a daycare owner who says she knew the suspect and the children. Here's what she had to say about the suspect.
You could see in his eyes, nothing behind the eyes, dead behind the eyes, no soul, NPC, non-player character. He didn't have
Wow.
one.
What you are watching right now is a father running. From
Wow.
what he just did to his own children, this man sprinting through the streets of Shreveport in the early morning hours of April 19th, 2026 is
Don't run.
31-year-old Shamar Elkins. And just hours
Face the
before this
fire,
footage
bro.
was captured, he had posted a laughing emoji on Facebook talking about taking his oldest daughter on a one-on-one dinner date. 2 weeks before that, he was standing in a photo with all 7 of his kids, dressed in their Easter best, calling it a blessed day. I need you to hold that image in your mind as we go through this, because nothing about what you are about to hear is going to make sense. 8 children are
Okay, look, you got 8 kids, man. You blessed to have all your kids with you. Them babies was innocent and they ain't deserve none of that. Looking at him, he looks ready to pop off. He looks like he'll go off at any minute. I know 8 kids is a lot, but you laid down and you had them kids. They didn't ask to be here. You brought them here.
This is where it ended. After carjacking a vehicle and leading police on a chase across parish lines into Basher City, Shamar Elkins.
Look, bro, 3 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7, 10, 11, another 6, another 5. Innocent children. At their age, there's nothing they could have done. There's nothing they could have done to protect and defend themselves from the person that's supposed to protect and defend them from the world. It's sad, bro. It's terrible. And 2 sets of the kids, there's 2 children that's 6 years old and 2 children that's 5 years old. That means that you cheating on somebody with somebody else. 2 different times. Your priorities is messed up. I don't know. Listen, I don't know what caused him to go off on this, but in my eyes, there's nothing that can cause you to do something like this, especially to your children and your family. They don't deserve this, bro.
Was shot and killed by law enforcement. No officers were injured. Just like that, it was over for him. But for 8 families, for a community, for a wife fighting for her life in a hospital bed, for the mother of another child who was also shot, it was not over.
So the baby mama is still
be over,
alive.
because 8 children did not get to run. 8 children were never given the chance to escape. And today we are going to talk about every single piece of this story, from the Facebook posts to the warning signs to the details that the internet cannot stop talking about. To understand how this happened, you first have to understand the image Shamar Elkins was presenting to the world, because on the surface, his Facebook page looked like a proud, devoted father. On April 5th, just 14 days before the shooting, Shamar posted a photo that would later be shared across news outlets around the world. In it, he stands behind all 7 of his children, every one of them dressed in their Sunday best for Easter, and Shamar is smiling. His caption read, "Happy Easter, had a wonderful time at church for the first time with all my kids. What a blessed day." People celebrated it. A father taking his children to church. Nothing about that photo screams danger.
As he should.
Then, just 2 days before the shooting, April 17th, at 8. This time it was a photo of his oldest daughter sitting in the car, eating a burger, head down, caught off guard. He wrote, "Lol. Took my oldest on a lil. one-on-one date had to catch her down bad ugh ugh, followed by a string of laughing emojis. A dad joking about his daughter being hungry. A normal, everyday parent moment. Posted less than 48 hours before that same little girl, along with her brothers and sisters, would...
Just 2 days after that post. Terrible, bro. You should look at your children and smile every day that you wake up with them. You know, you should be blessed to have them, blessed to speak to them, blessed to take care of them every day. You know, and for you to do that, bro, you need to burn forever.
lose their lives. That is the contradiction
There's
at the
no
heart of this
forgiveness for
story.
that, bro.
And it is one that everyone who knew Shamar Elkins,
It's no
everyone who saw
forgiveness for
those
that.
posts, is now forced to live with. But if you scroll back a little further on that Facebook page, you start to see something different. Because not all of Shamar's posts were smiling Easter photos and daddy-daughter dates. Some of them, looking back, read like a man who was quietly unraveling.
Dads, if you could go back in time and have kids with a different woman, but still have the same kids, would you? Nigga, you wouldn't have the same kids because it's not the same mother that you laying down with. You chose to lay down with that woman and had them kids. That was your choice, not the children's choice. That's your responsibility to take care and look after them for the rest of the time that you're supposed to. No matter how stressful it is, no matter how painful it is. You as a man need to step up and take care of your business.
On March 8th, more than a month before the shooting,
Make me
Shamar
sad,
reshared
bro,
a
because
post
I got
from a
kids,
Facebook
man.
page called Dads Matter Everywhere. The post asked a simple question. Dads, if you could go back in time and have kids with a different woman but still have the same kids, would you do it? Shamar's answer was immediate. He captioned the share with, "Hell yeah, I would." Just that. No explanation. No context.
That's my
But
cough.
now, in hindsight, people across social media have pointed to that post as one of the clearest signs that something was deeply wrong. A man who claimed to love his children,
It's always the subtle signs, the small things, the things that you don't think is too major, but they speak volumes.
yet openly wished he had never chosen their mothers. A man who was smiling in Easter photos while harboring what appears to be serious resentment toward the women in his life. That same day, March 8th, he reshared another post, this one reading, "Shout out to every man who is fixing his life alone. No rich relatives, no favors, no dad's money, even through losses and disrespect."
Bro, that's most people. Most people ain't rich. Most people don't come from money. Most people is alone, taking care of their kids. You laid down and had them kids. Period. You got to deal with what comes with it. A lot of times people like to have kids because they think it's cute. You know, they see babies, they hold babies. Oh, it's cute. Dress them up. Oh, no, bro. It's much more than just looking cute. You know, it's them long nights staying up when your kids are sick, when you got to stay home from school, feeding them, clothing them every day.
You'll go far in life. He captioned it simply, "Damn right." Again, on its own, it looks like a man trying to stay motivated, a man who felt overlooked and unappreciated. But combined with everything else, it paints a picture of someone who was building a narrative in his own head, one where he was the victim. Then, 10 days before the shooting, a post appeared that has since sent chills through everyone who read it. According to reports, Shamar made a Facebook post where he called on God to guard his mind and his emotions. He wrote, "Dear God, today I ask you to help me guard my mind and my emotions." He continued, "When negativity arises, remind me to say, 'It does not belong to me,' in the name of Jesus." And then, perhaps the most haunting line of all. When depression tries to settle in, when anger rises, when anxiety or panic comes, give me the awareness to recognize what is not from you and the strength to reject it immediately in the name of Jesus. A man who knew something was wrong. A man who was asking for help in the only way he knew how. And 10 days later, The very darkness he was praying against consumed everything.
And then you want to run
In the
away.
early morning hours of April 19th,
Coward. That's cowardice.
2026, before the sun came up over Shreveport, Louisiana, Shamar Elkins moved through the Cedar Grove neighborhood and left a trail of devastation across at least 3 crime scenes spanning 2 streets roughly a quarter-mile apart. It began on
3
Harrison
crime
Street at
scenes.
around 5 a.m. in the morning, where Shamar shot his wife, 34-year-old Shaniqua Pugh, in the head. She survived, but her injuries were
Man,
described as
thankfully.
very serious. According to those close to the family, Shamar and Shaniqua had been married for approximately 2 years, though reports from others
Okay.
suggested the relationship went back much further. They had been in the process of
Okay.
separating and were reportedly due in court the very next day, Monday, to handle legal matters connected to that separation.
Wow. Due in court the next morning. They were together for I don't know how many years. They say many years before they were married. So they was married 2 years and they were on the verge of getting a divorce. It due in court the next morning. Like, come on, bro. You made a post saying you don't want your same baby mama, but you want your kids. And now you getting ready to split up from them. I don't understand, man.
They had been arguing before the shooting. From Harrison Street, Shamar drove to the 300 block of West 79th Street, where 7 of his children were killed inside a home.
So his baby mama, the one that he was married to, lived in one house and his children was at another house. That's pretty strange. That's pretty odd. You know, maybe they was going through something. Maybe it was just a domestic dispute and the kids had to get out of there to like auntie house or grandma house or something. Why couldn't you just leave your kids alone? Huh? Like come on, man. Why couldn't you just leave your kids alone and go on back? Like, come on, man. They didn't have to go through that, bro. But if I'm not mistaken, one of the boys, he jumped out the window and survived. You know? That's terrible because he got to live with that. It's disgusting, bro. It's really disgusting. And bro need to burn in hell for that. Look, that's how I feel. People like that don't deserve breath. And yeah, to my understanding, he got shot and he passed away by the police. But he need to be brought back and shot again. And brought back and shot again. And again and again. Torment. You know, that's what you put them children through. And you got one boy who survived that and have to live through that every day. Terrible.
A second woman, the mother of the 8th child, was also shot and sustained life-threatening injuries. An 8th child was found dead on the roof of an adjacent home. A 13-year-old boy managed to jump from the roof to escape
Oh my
and
God,
survived.
bro. This is terrible. You hunted your kids down. That's despicable, man. It's just terrible. You hunted them kids down, man. Kid on the roof, that mean they was trying to get away and you smacked them still.
With broken bones. As officers arrived on the scene,
Come
Shamar was
on,
not
bro.
hard to find.
It's
Armed with a
terrible.
rifle, he carjacked
And
a
then
vehicle
want to cowardly
and fled
run
the footage
away.
you saw at the beginning of this story and led police on a chase into Bossier Parish, where he was shot and killed in Bossier City. Police spokesperson Christopher Bordelon stood before cameras and described what investigators found as incredibly gruesome in nature.
Come
The
on,
Caddo
man.
Parish Coroner's Office later released the names of the 8
Man, just imagine being an officer and having to pull up to those crime scenes, man. And seeing children, bro. It's terrible. It's terrible.
children who were unalived. Jayla Elkins, age 3, Shayla Elkins, age 5, Kayla Pugh, age 6, Layla Pugh, age 7, Markaden Pugh, age 10, Soraya Snow, age 11, Katerian Snow, age 6,
Rest in peace to the children, bro. Rest in paradise. Rest in paradise.
and Braylon Snow, age 5. 7 of them were Shamar's own children. The 8th was a child of the second woman shot. Their ages ranged from 3 to 11 years old. Shreveport Mayor Tom Arcino addressed the city and called it
You know,
maybe the
just
worst
regular
tragic
kids.
situation
You know,
we've had.
dancing happy.
The incident is currently the
Just
deadliest mass
regular
shooting
kids,
in the
bro.
United States
They
in
just need a family.
2026.
Need parents that's gonna look after
Beyond the
and take
Facebook
care of them.
posts and the Easter photos, there is a documented history that raises serious questions about how this man was still in a position to cause this level of harm.
Look at him. Remember the lady in the beginning said you could see in his eyes like no soul? NPC. You know, they say a picture can tell 1,000 words. You know, and this picture speaks volumes. NPC right in his eyes. You could tell.
Shamar Elkins was born the 1st of January 1995 and was a lifelong resident of Shreveport. He served in the Louisiana Army National Guard from August 2013 to August 2020, working as a signal support system specialist and a fire support specialist. He was never deployed overseas and left the Army as a private, the lowest enlisted rank in 2020. In
Okay, you was never deployed overseas. That means you never had to go fight no wars. You was a signal control specialist, meaning you directing traffic with light signals. So you ain't had no PTSD. You didn't have to go to war. So what is it, bro? You know, people, listen, man. We see this a lot where you got mentally unstable people that's having children and they end up in terrible circumstances. It's terrible because the children are the ones who suffer, not the adults. The children are the ones who suffer because they deserve better than this, bro.
March of 2019, he was arrested on charges of illegal use of weapons and carrying a firearm on school property. According to a police report from that incident, Shamar was outside near Caddo Magnet High School when a man in a passing car pulled a gun on him. Shamar's response was to pull out his own handgun and fire 5 rounds at the vehicle as it drove away. The problem was that children were playing outside on school grounds less than 300 feet away when he opened fire. He pleaded guilty to the illegal weapons charge in October 2019, was placed on 18 months of probation, and had the second...
Again, he's in Louisiana where weapons are legal, you know, open carry. And so he's able to carry a gun, you know, loaded weapon without having permits. So, I mean, that's probably a stand your ground state as well. So the problem is that they say he was close to a school where children were at. If they were out, you know, near a gas station or somewhere else, he probably would have got off scot-free for shooting at somebody who put a gun in their face or his face.
Charge dismissed. He also had a prior conviction for driving while intoxicated in 2016. A man with a documented history of pulling out firearms in populated areas. A man who served in the military and had weapons training. A man who was on probation. And yet, years later, he had access to a rifle which he used on the morning of April 19th to kill 8 children. As news of the shooting spread across social media, people who knew Shamar began to speak, and among the voices that came forward was a man identified as Shamar's adopted uncle, whose post stopped many people in their tracks. In that post, the uncle expressed the kind of grief that has no clean language, the grief of someone who loved a person and cannot reconcile the person they knew with the act that person committed. He shared memories of Shamar, described the man he believed him to be, and expressed that this was not the Shamar he raised, the Shamar he knew, the Shamar he loved. His words were raw. They were not an excuse. They were the sound of a family trying to make sense of something that has no sense to be made of. And across Shreveport...
Hold on, wait, what'd he say? It says, I was totally unaware of all the events taking place this morning when my camera suddenly activated. that there was activity on my doorway. I went and heard his voice, my nephew, and then opened the door, and unknowingly he was standing there with his short barrel AR carbine. We talked for a little under a minute, and then he put the barrel to his mouth and done. When he fired, I assumed that the police thought he was shooting at them or me, so they then opened fire. Oh, I got some glass in my arm from secondary connects. Please pray for those babies. They are in a much better place now, I know, but the imprint of this tragedy is deep and hurts. Please pray for any survivors, as I believe there is one adult survivor. Oh my goodness. So he smacked himself in front of his adopted uncle. And then the police popped at him because they thought he was shooting at them. I don't encourage any self-harm at all. But bro deserved what he got and more. I got no words, man. I got very little words for him. Besides the fact that he's a coward, and he deserved punishment to the maximum. That wasn't enough. Y'all go ahead and like and subscribe, man. I'm gonna see y'all on the next one. Peace.